Hi, welcome to Unit 9. So this is the second unit focusing only on JavaScript, no HTML, no CSS just yet. We have this unit which talks about control flow. We just learned about the basics of JavaScript, so primitives, variables, some of the basic built-in methods, and we also talked about how we run files and how to use the Chrome Developer Console. In this unit, we're talking about control flow, which is really about making decisions and controlling the way that our code runs. So we're going to talk about some really important concepts, including if statements or conditionals and loops. And before I dive into the specific objectives, I just want to give you a lay of the land. We have 3 more units after this one, so 4 more basic JavaScript units in total before we go back to HTML and CSS, and then we add in JavaScript together, and we talk about something called DOM manipulation. So once we do that, we can start making some fun games. We can start really building applications, things that are interactive and that look really nice and are styled well. Not just simple console games or JavaScript basic games, but real substantial applications. So we're getting there. But I don't want you to skip ahead to that. It might be tempting, but trust me, it's really important that you understand everything that we're going to talk about in the next few units. These are probably the most important for the rest of the course. You might think that they're the most boring or the least exciting because we're not making something. There's no exciting finished product. There's no real payoff. But I promise if you just wait a few units, you make it through this section, which hopefully is exciting enough. We talk about how programming languages work. We talk about writing logic. It's really a creative endeavor, in my opinion. It's not something that's as dry or intimidating as it might appear at first. But the point is that what we're going to learn here is foundational for everything else. For Node.js, for Express, for jQuery, for DOM manipulation, for databases, authentication, everything that we're going to talk about in this unit and the next 3 units is going to carry over to every other topic in this course that involves JavaScript. So hang in there. We'll get to making those games really, really soon. So as far as this particular unit is concerned, we have 4 main objectives, and they really revolve around 2 main categories or 2 main topics, which, as I mentioned earlier, are conditional statements and loops. The first objective is that by the end of this unit, I want you to be able to evaluate complex logical statements. So you'll be using things like Boolean operators and logical operators and comparison operators. Basically, I want you to understand how they all work and how they all interact. And that's closely related to the next objective, which is that I want you to be able to write conditional statements with if, else if, and else components. So 3-part conditional statements, which is how we make decisions in JavaScript. And then the next 2 objectives pertain to loops. So the first one is pretty simple. I just want you to be able to write for loops and while loops and incorporate them into your own applications and your own exercises. So 2 types of loops, for loops and while loops. And then the last objective is that I'd like you to be able to translate from one type to another. So from a for loop to a while loop, or take an existing while loop and turn it into a for loop. And then, of course, sprinkled throughout the unit, there are a few exercises, small projects, and a quiz.